As our journey into parallel universes gently comes to a close, take a moment to feel the quiet wonder of infinite possibilities lingering around you. Every choice, every path not taken, every flicker of what could have been, they may all exist somewhere, in worlds just out of reach yet subtly connected to our own. The universe, it seems, is not a single story, but a vast tapestry of realities, quietly overlapping and coexisting. Perhaps the echoes of other worlds brush against ours, leaving faint traces we can barely perceive, a gentle reminder of the mystery that surrounds us. As you reflect on this, remember that curiosity is as important as certainty. Embrace the questions, the whispers of unseen realities, and the quiet marvels that expand your mind without demanding immediate answers. Let the infinite possibilities of the cosmos settle softly into your thoughts, carrying a sense of peace and awe. If this exploration of parallel universes inspired you, please consider liking this video, sharing it with someone who wonders about the mysteries of existence, and leaving a comment with your thoughts or reflections. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel so you can quietly journey with us into more stories of science, the cosmos, and the mysteries that surround us. As you drift toward the night, let the idea of infinite worlds remind you of the vastness, the mystery, and the beauty that exists beyond what we can see. Perhaps tonight, as you close your eyes, you may even feel the gentle brush of another reality, softly touching your imagination and carrying you into the quiet wonder of the unknown. You lie in the quiet of night, and the thought of infinity rests beside you. The stars above are not only suns, but perhaps gateways, each one a window into something more. The idea of many worlds drifts softly into your mind like the hush of the wind. You feel the vastness cradling you, endless and gentle, holding you in its mystery. You are lying still, and the quiet around you begins to widen. At first, it is the quiet of your room, the familiar silence of resting walls and settled air. But as you listen more deeply, you sense a larger silence that holds everything, a silence as vast as the night sky above your roof. It is within this silence that the first whisper of infinity arrives. Infinity does not rush toward you. It comes gently, like a breath across your skin, like a tide that draws back the sand grain by grain. You imagine the stars scattered across the darkness, small, flickering points of light. You have seen them countless times before, yet tonight you allow them to become more than distant suns. You let them be doors. You let them be possibilities. One star might be a sun with its own family of planets, circling endlessly, their surfaces warmed by alien light. Another might be colder, its worlds covered in endless ice. You let your mind travel outward, drifting past the known and into the unknown. With each breath, the universe feels both larger and closer, surrounding you like a soft blanket made of endless possibility. Scientists speak of the universe as if it has an edge, a border where light itself cannot yet reach us. They call this the observable universe, the part of reality our telescopes can touch. But beyond it, beyond what light has had time to travel since the beginning, there may be more. Not just more stars, not just more galaxies, but more. Space itself stretching without end. You rest with this idea that no matter how far you imagine, there is always farther still. Infinity can feel overwhelming when you try to measure it. But here, in the stillness of night, it feels calm. Picture it not as numbers spiraling forever, but as a soft horizon that always retreats, no matter how close you walk. It is like standing by the ocean and watching waves roll in, each one arriving, each one dissolving, yet the ocean never ends. You breathe, and with each breath you sense your own smallness within this endless sea. But the smallness is not frightening. It is comforting, like resting as a single note in a symphony that is too vast to be played by one instrument alone. Infinity is not about losing yourself. It is about discovering that you belong to something larger than you can ever fully name. Your mind begins to wander to the question of numbers. You think of counting 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbers climb without end, and yet you never feel that you have left the beginning. Infinity is not a destination you can reach. It is the open road itself, always stretching ahead. In the same way, the universe is not a place you can fully grasp. It is the mystery that holds all places, all times, all possibilities. The night sky above you becomes a canvas for these thoughts. Each star twinkles not as a fixed dot, but as a reminder of distance, of time, of endlessness. Some of those lights left their stars millions of years ago, traveling across the void to meet your eyes tonight. When you see them, you are not only looking into space, you are looking into history. And perhaps you are also looking into countless futures. You let yourself imagine, if infinity truly exists, then every possibility must have its place. Somewhere in the vastness, there may be another planet with oceans as blue as ours. Somewhere else, another form of life breathing beneath strange skies. The thought arrives not as speculation, but as comfort, that the universe is generous enough to hold more than we can imagine. Your thoughts drift further still. You recall that light itself may travel forever, never running out of space, never finding a wall to stop against. It simply moves onward, carrying the memory of stars long gone. Infinity is not only about space, it is about time as well. Time stretching before and behind, without a true beginning or end. The universe may have been born in a fiery dawn. We call the Big Bang, but what came before? What lies beyond? These questions ripple through you like quiet waves, soft enough not to disturb your rest. The human mind is small, but it has a gift: imagination. With imagination, you are able to lean against the edges of infinity, even if you cannot see all of it. You are like a child listening at a closed door, hearing the faintest music from another room. The door may never open fully, but the sound is enough to remind you that more exists beyond the threshold. Lying in your bed, you realize that infinity is not something to solve, but something to feel. It is the breath that expands your chest, the heartbeat that repeats without end, this cycles of night and day that carry you gently forward. Your body itself is a small infinity, cells renewing, atoms vibrating, patterns repeating in quiet harmony. The infinite is not only out there in the stars, it is within you as well. There is a kind of peace in knowing that infinity cannot be contained. It means that questions will always remain, and with them, wonder. Every time you look up at the sky, you are invited into that wonder again. You do not need to understand it fully. You only need to rest within it. As you are now, you feel your breath slow, matching the rhythm of the night. Infinity becomes less a thought and more a presence, surrounding you like a gentle tide. You are not lost in it. You are carried by it, like a leaf on a wide and endless river dot. And as you drift on that river, a new thought begins to form. If infinity is real, then perhaps our universe is not the only one. Perhaps there are others, countless others, stretching beside ours, beyond ours, reflecting and branching like mirrors in an endless hall. You cannot see them yet, but you can sense the possibility. Waiting just beyond the horizon of thought, that the whisper of infinity softens into silence. And you find yourself poised at the edge of the next question, the question of reflections, of other worlds, of mirrors in the cosmos. Imagine the universe as a hall of mirrors, each reflection slightly altered, each one its own reality. In one, you lift your hand, in another, it stays still. The mirror metaphor carries you into the concept of branching worlds, where choices shimmer into existence like ripples on water. The glass feels endless, yet comforting, because you are always present. The night stretches wide around you, and the whisper of infinity still lingers in your thoughts. You feel it in your breath, in the rhythm of your body, in the way the stars seem to lean closer when you give them your attention. Infinity has shown you its vastness, boundless, unending, immeasurable. But now, another image begins to surface, delicate and shining, as though carried by light itself, the image of mirrors. You imagine stepping into a long hallway lined with glass. Each mirror reflects your face, your body, your movement. Some mirrors are clear and sharp, repeating you with perfect fidelity. Others are curved, stretched, or warped, bending you into new shapes. You smile, and 1,000 versions of your smile ripple outward into the distance. It feels both strange and familiar. You remain the same, and yet you are endlessly altered. This hall of mirrors is more than a dream. It is a way to picture what some scientists and philosophers suggest, that the universe itself may be reflected, multiplied, repeated with variations too subtle or too vast for you to notice. Each mirror could be a world, each reflection a universe parallel to this one. You begin with a simple thought. What if, in one mirror, you raise your hand, and in another, you keep it still? The difference is small, barely noticeable. Yet that small difference means the two reflections are not identical. They have diverged, and once they diverge, they continue to grow apart. One reflection leads to another moment, then another, until the two paths no longer resemble each other at all. This is the gentle heart of the idea, parallel universes as branching possibilities. Some scientists call it the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, born from the strange rules of the smallest particles. At the tiniest scales of existence, particles seem to exist in many states at once, until we observe them. Observation, like a hand on water, creates ripples. Each possibility becomes a reality in its own right, branching away from the others. You rest with this thought, letting it expand softly in your mind. Each choice you make, each breath, each step could, in some sense, lead to a new reflection. Not just one world, but many, each carrying its own version of you. The mirrors do not stop at one or two. They multiply endlessly, creating a shimmering hall of existence stretching as far as infinity itself. The idea could feel dizzying, overwhelming, too large to hold. But here, in the calm of night, it feels instead like a comfort. You are never alone in your decisions. Every path is taken somewhere. Every version of you is walking, breathing, living in some mirrored corridor of the cosmos. The reflections do not judge or compete. They simply exist quietly, like ripples spreading across a still pond. You imagine the pond now, its surface calm beneath a pale moon. You drop a single pebble into the water, and rings move outward, circling, overlapping, weaving patterns on the surface. Each ring is distinct, yet all come from the same center. In the same way, each mirrored universe could be seen as a circle of possibility, born from the same moment, expanding gently outward. Science reminds you that these ideas are not yet proven. They live at the edge of theory, in the delicate place between what we can test and what we can only imagine. But this uncertainty is not a flaw. It is part of the wonder. To consider that the universe may hold more than one version of reality is to rest inside possibility itself. And possibility is as soothing as it is mysterious. You pause, noticing how the metaphor of mirrors lingers in your thoughts. A mirror is both familiar and strange. It shows you yourself, yet reversed. It gives you an image that is real enough to recognize, but untouchable, unreachable. Perhaps parallel universes are like that, close enough to sense, yet just beyond the glass dot, the thought brings you back to memory. You may recall standing before a mirror as a child, staring at your reflection and wondering if there was another world behind the glass. What if your reflection was not just an image, but another you, looking out from the other side. The idea may have been playful then, but now it carries new weight. What if the universe itself is such a mirror, reflecting possibilities into realities that you cannot quite step into, but that still exist, quietly, alongside your own? In this hall of cosmic mirrors, you begin to wonder how far the reflections might go. Could there be universes almost identical to this one, with only the smallest details changed? A cloud shaped differently, a leaf falling earlier, a word left unspoken? Could there also be universes entirely unlike this one, governed by different laws of physics, where stars burn in colors your eyes cannot imagine, and time itself flows in unfamiliar directions? The mirrors multiply, not just in space, but in kind. Some are near perfect copies. Others are distorted, stretched beyond recognition. Yet each is still a mirror, still part of the same endless hall. Your mind drifts gently to a scientific image, the quantum multiverse, where each possibility at the level of particles becomes its own world. A photon of light can travel through two paths at once. An electron can spin in two directions at once. When the universe chooses one, perhaps the other still survives, not lost, but carried away into another mirror. You breathe deeply, imagining yourself standing in this mirrored hall. To your left and right, versions of you walk forward. Some smile, some remain quiet. Some turn their heads toward stars, others close their eyes and rest. You do not need to follow them. It is enough to know they are there. Their presence makes the hall feel full, alive with countless echoes of possibility. The rhythm of your thoughts slows, like a pendulum coming to rest. The mirrors no longer feel like walls. They feel like windows. And through those windows, you glimpse a deeper mystery. Perhaps the mirrors themselves are part of something larger. Perhaps what you are sensing is only the beginning of an even greater unfolding. A multiverse not just of reflections, but of bubbles, each floating, each carrying its own infinity within. You let this final image linger, mirrors turning into spheres, reflections into worlds, all drifting together in an unseen sea. You are still within the hallway, but at its end, a door begins to appear. The door opens not onto glass, but onto space itself, vast, glowing, infinite. You pause at the threshold, calm, curious, unafraid. The hall of mirrors has shown you reflections of yourself and your world, but beyond the door lies something larger, waiting. A multiverse that unfolds not as glass, but as bubbles of reality floating together in the endless dark. Cosmologists speak of the multiverse, not as fantasy, but as possibility. You drift with the notion of bubble universes, each one floating like soap bubbles, fragile yet eternal. The air between them is silence, yet they may brush against each other in ways unseen. You feel yourself floating too, carried by their quiet expansion. You linger at the threshold where the mirrored corridor has faded, and the thought of reflections has softened into something larger. Mirrors have shown you many worlds, but now, the glass gives way to something rounder, more fluid, more alive. You begin to picture bubbles. Not the small, playful bubbles that rise from a child's wand, though they are a good beginning. Instead, imagine bubbles stretched across a cosmic ocean, immense, luminous, fragile, yet enduring. These are not toys of air and soap. These are entire universes. The thought feels delicate, almost impossible. Yet cosmologists speak of it with care, suggesting that the multiverse may not be a dream, but a serious possibility. The universe you inhabit, the stars, the galaxies, the endless space you see at night, might be only one bubble among countless others. Each bubble expands, floats, and drifts in silence. Each bubble contains its own version of reality. You allow yourself to drift with this picture. A bubble of your own universe expands all around you. From within, you do not notice its edges. The horizon always retreats as you approach. But from outside, perhaps, it would look like a shining globe, its surface swelling, its interior filled with galaxies like dust scattered in sunlight. Around it, countless other bubbles drift, each sealed, each complete, each holding a universe as vast as yours. Scientists speak of this vision in different ways. Some describe eternal inflation, a process in which space itself continually expands, birthing new universes like sparks leaping from a fire. Each spark becomes a bubble, self-contained, its laws of physics set, its future unfolding in silence. Others imagine higher dimensions, where universes lie like pages in a book, side by side, close yet untouching. The language shifts, but the feeling remains the same. What you call the universe may be only a small piece of something larger. You breathe into this idea, letting it settle in your body. You are no longer standing in a hall of mirrors. Now you are floating in a vast ocean of bubbles, each glowing faintly, each carrying its own story. Some may be short-lived, collapsing almost as soon as they appear. Others may expand endlessly, their galaxies blooming like flowers across eternity. You imagine yourself drifting among them, carried by currents of silence, your mind as weightless as foam on the tide. There is something soothing about the image of bubbles. They are fragile, yes, but also beautiful. Their surfaces glisten with colors, catching light in shifting patterns. When one bubble brushes against another, the surface trembles. Could universes touch in this way? Could our bubble ever collide with a neighbor, leaving faint marks in the fabric of our sky? Some cosmologists wonder if certain patterns in the ancient light of the cosmos, the cosmic microwave background, may hold such scars. Like fingerprints pressed into early light, they may tell of collisions that happened long ago, when bubbles brushed, merged, or passed too closely. You picture it gently, not as a violent crash, but as two shimmering orbs meeting softly, exchanging whispers before drifting apart again. If such a meeting ever shaped our universe, then you, in this moment, are part of that memory. The quiet of the night around you may hold echoes of ancient contact, messages written not in words, but in the faint warmth of leftover light. The thought of these bubbles expands your sense of belonging. You are not limited to a single isolated cosmos. You are part of a greater sea, where universes float like lanterns set adrift. The space between them is not empty. It is possibility itself, a silence so vast it hums with potential. You imagine, looking outward from your bubble. You see others glowing faintly in the dark, each with its own laws, its own physics, perhaps its own beings looking up at their own skies, wondering the same questions you now hold. They may not know of you, just as you cannot know of them. But you share the same ocean, the same silence, the same unfolding mystery. Your breath deepens, and the picture grows calmer. The multiverse is not a place of noise or chaos. It is a place of endless unfolding, like petals opening, like waves rolling, like time stretching without end. You are not required to understand it all. You are only asked to rest within the image, to let it hold you the way water holds a drifting leaf. You may notice that the word multiverse itself carries weight. It suggests multiplicity, layers, and abundance. A single verse is a song, a story, a line of poetry. A multiverse, then, is many songs at once, many stories, many lines woven together. You are inside one stanza of an infinite poem, one melody among endless harmonies. Even if you cannot hear the whole, you are still part of its music. Some wonder, if the multiverse diminishes the importance of this world, if your universe is only one of countless others, does that make it less meaningful? But the opposite may be true. If there are endless universes, then the fact that you exist here, in this one, becomes even more precious. Out of countless possibilities, this reality is yours. This breath, this body, this night, unique, unrepeatable. and deeply real. You let that truth settle gently inside you. The multiverse is vast, yes, but you are not lost in it. You are part of it, a note in its song, a light in its sea. The presence of other universes does not erase your own. It only reminds you that reality is richer than you can hold in a single thought. The image of bubbles continues to expand in your mind. Some bubbles may never touch, separated by expanses too great to cross. Others may brush gently, leaving scars or ripples. Still others may form within larger ones, like foam gathering within foam. The variety is endless, and yet the motion is calm. There is no rush, no urgency. Only the slow, patient unfolding of possibility. As you drift deeper into this picture, your mind begins to quiet. The details blur into softness. You no longer see individual galaxies or individual universes. You see only a vast expanse of glowing orbs, floating in silence, endlessly unfolding. The multiverse has become less a theory and more a feeling. A gentle assurance that reality is larger than you can measure, yet gentle enough to cradle you within it. Your eyes close, in thought or in sleep, and you find yourself floating within this sea. Each bubble is a world. Each world is a story. And all of them drift together, connected not by touch, but by the simple fact of existence. You are part of this ocean. You are carried by its tide, and as you rest within it, another whisper begins to rise. If the multiverse unfolds through bubbles, what lies at its smallest heart? What force creates the branching, the shimmering, the endless variety? To find the answer, you must drift even smaller, into the realm where particles themselves exist, in many states at once. The quantum world, where reality whispers in probabilities. In the quantum world, particles dance in overlapping possibilities, existing here and elsewhere all at once. You listen to their whispers, a coin both heads and tails, a cat both awake and asleep. Slowly, you allow yourself to rest in the yow. Uncertainty, finding peace in probabilities, as if your breath were also made of choices. The bubbles of the multiverse drift gently in your imagination, glowing softly in the vast silence. Yet as you float among them, you feel a subtle pull, a quiet invitation to go smaller. Not larger, not farther, but inward, down into the fabric of reality itself. If universes are bubbles, what gives rise to their shimmer? What lies at their foundation? You close your eyes and sink slowly, as if descending into deep water. The galaxies blur into stars, the stars blur into atoms, and the atoms blur into something even smaller. You have arrived in the quantum world, a realm so delicate and strange that it defies the ordinary ways of seeing. Here, particles are not solid marbles rolling through space. They are waves, ripples, probabilities. They move not with certainty, but with possibility. A particle can be here and elsewhere, spinning this way and that way, existing in overlapping states until something causes it to choose. The rules of this world are not like the rules of the everyday. They are softer, stranger, whispered instead of spoken. You let your mind rest in this strangeness. Imagine flipping a coin. In your ordinary world, the coin will land heads or tails. But in the quantum world, the coin does not choose so quickly. It is both heads and tails at once, suspended in a shimmering state of superposition. Only when you look, when you observe, does the coin settle into one outcome. Until then, it lives in both possibilities, a whisper of duality. This idea feels almost impossible, and yet it is the foundation of much of modern physics. The smallest pieces of reality live in probabilities, not certainties. They are not confined to one choice, but exist in many, overlapping like chords of music before resolving into a single note. You picture it gently, particles moving as waves across a pond, their ripples spreading outward. Where the ripples overlap, interference patterns appear. Light and dark bands, crests and valleys, possibilities entwining. This is not just a metaphor. Experiments have shown it. When electrons, the tiny sparks that circle atoms, are sent through two slits in a wall, they create patterns as though they traveled through both slits at once. They behave like waves, not particles, until we measure them. And then, as though shy of being watched, they collapse into single points. It is as if the universe itself waits for attention before deciding what to be. You let this thought rest. In you, that observation, awareness, plays a role in shaping reality. Not in the dramatic sense of magic or fantasy, but in the quiet, mathematical sense of quantum physics. The world exists in whispers until touched by eyes or instruments. Then, and only then, does it choose a form. You may recall the famous thought experiment, Schrödinger's cat. A cat is placed in a box with a device that may or may not release poison depending on the random decay of a particle. Until the box is opened, the cat is said to be both alive and dead at once, a living paradox suspended in superposition. It is not meant to be taken literally, but as a way of showing how strange the quantum world truly is. At its heart, reality holds overlapping truths waiting to resolve. You breathe into this strangeness. Instead of resisting it, you allow it to soothe you. Life itself often feels uncertain, choices unresolved, outcomes unknown. In the quantum world, uncertainty is not a flaw, but a feature. It is the way reality breathes, the way it holds all possibilities before unfolding them. You too can rest in uncertainty. You too can breathe in probabilities without needing to force an answer. In this quiet space, you realize that quantum whispers are not only distant abstractions. They are within you. The atoms in your body, the particles of your breath, the sparks in your nerves, all of them obey these rules. Your very existence is woven from probabilities collapsing into form, again and again, each moment a resolution. Of whispers into presence. The quantum world is delicate, but it is not chaotic. It has its own order, its own rhythms. Particles are connected in ways that defy ordinary separation. When two particles become entangled, their fates are linked, no matter how far apart they drift. Change one, and the other responds instantly, as if distance itself is irrelevant. This too has been proven, tested, measured. Einstein himself once called it spooky action at a distance. And yet, it is real. You imagine two particles drifting apart across the universe, one carried by starlight, the other resting in your hand. Though separated by light years, they remain bound, like dancers still moving to the same hidden music. Entanglement reminds you that distance is not the whole story. Connection exists beyond space, beyond separation, in ways your senses cannot fully perceive. You let this truth flow into you. Perhaps you too are entangled with the people you love, with the places you have touched, with the world itself. Perhaps every interaction is a thread, binding you into a web of quiet connections, invisible but real. The quantum world suggests that separateness is never complete. There is always a whisper of linkage, a resonance across space. The more you rest in this world, the more its paradoxes become comforts. Here, a particle can be wave and point. Here, uncertainty is law. Here, connection persists across distance. The quantum world is not orderly in the way your waking mind expects, but it is beautiful in its fluidity, its openness, its refusal to collapse until the last possible moment. You realize, too, that this whispering world may be the root of the multiverse itself. If each quantum choice can lead to a different outcome, then perhaps each outcome is realized, branching into its own universe. The many worlds interpretation grows from this very soil. When a particle chooses one state, Another universe may hold the opposite. Both exist, each carrying on in its own thread of reality. The multiverse may be the grand chorus of quantum. Whispers, every possibility given its own voice. You breathe deeply, letting the thought expand. Your life, too, is filled with choices. Paths taken, paths left behind. In the quantum view, perhaps none are lost. Each path may continue somewhere, unfolding in its own way. Each version of you may live on, a ripple of possibility made real. The thought is not frightening. It is freeing. You do not need to regret. Every choice is honored somewhere. Every possibility finds a home. The quiet of the night deepens around you. You feel your body soften into stillness, your breath slow into rhythm. The quantum world hums beneath everything, like the faint vibration of strings on a hidden instrument. Some physicists even imagine that particles themselves are strings, tiny loops vibrating in multiple dimensions, their music giving rise to matter and energy. Whether string or wave, particle or field, the truth is the same. Reality is not solid and fixed. It is fluid, dynamic, alive with potential. You rest in this thought, comforted by its gentleness. The world does not need to be certain for you to belong to it. You belong to its whispers, to its probabilities, to its constant unfolding. And yet, as you drift deeper, another thought begins to emerge. If quantum rules apply at the smallest scales, what of the larger? How does the whisper of probabilities grow into the vast branching of time itself? What does it mean for the river of existence? If every fork flows into another world, time is not a single line, but a branching river, each fork leading to another story of you. In one world, you turned left. In another, right? Each branch grows quietly, like leaves on an infinite tree. You rest beneath its shade, knowing you are both the tree and the traveler. The whispers of the quantum world still echo softly within you. They remind you of uncertainty, of overlapping states, of choices waiting to be seen. And as those whispers settle into silence, another rhythm begins to emerge, deeper and slower, the rhythm of time itself. You sense it first as a river, flowing gently forward, carrying you with it. The current is steady, the water cool, the sound calming. This is the way time often feels. A single stream, moving from past to present to future, unbroken and inevitable. You float upon it, looking back at the bends you have passed, looking ahead at the turns still unseen dot. But as you drift, you begin to notice something curious. The river does not flow as one. It branches. At every bend, at every stone, it divides into smaller streams. Some merge again, some wander off into quiet meadows, some tumble into hidden valleys. You realize that time is not only a straight path. It is a branching river, flowing in many directions at once. Each branch is a possibility. Each fork is a choice. In one branch, you said yes. In another, you said no. In one, you stepped forward. In another, you stayed behind. You are carried in this current, but the current itself is not singular. It spreads, it divides, it multiplies, becoming a living network of streams, all flowing together into the great ocean of existence. Science, too, has imagined this. In quantum physics, when particles choose between overlapping states, they may not erase the paths left behind. Instead, each outcome may continue, unfolding in its own branch of reality. The many worlds interpretation suggests that every possibility is honored, each becoming real in its own universe. Time, then, is not one line but many, woven like threads in an endless tapestry. You let this image grow. The tapestry spreads wide, each thread a version of you, a story of your choices, a path you might have walked. Some are familiar, some distant, some barely recognizable, yet all belong to you, all sprout from the same root. Perhaps time is not only a river, but also a tree. The trunk is your past, solid and shared. But as the trunk rises, it splits into branches, each one reaching in its own direction. Some branches grow thick, others stay slender, some twist back toward each other. And above them, countless leaves unfold, shimmering in the breeze. Each leaf is a moment, a world, a possibility. You sit beneath this infinite tree, and you realize you are both the tree and the traveler. This thought is gentle, not heavy. It brings release. For in the tree of time, no choice is ever fully lost. Each branch exists somewhere. Each leaf still sways in its place. Regret softens. Paths you did not take are not destroyed, but simply unfolded elsewhere. You do not need to hold them tightly. They exist quietly in the shade of the tree. You breathe deeply, letting this comfort expand through you. Time does not demand urgency. It offers abundance. It offers room for every possibility to exist, even if you walk. Only one dot in physics, the nature of time remains mysterious. Some equations suggest that time is not fundamental, but an illusion emerging from deeper laws. Others propose that the flow of time is linked to entropy, a measure of disorder in a system. As entropy increases, the arrow of time points forward, carrying you from order to disorder, from past to future. Yet within that arrow, branches still spread. Even as entropy grows, possibilities multiply. The arrow does not erase the tree. It nourishes it. You rest with this paradox. Time feels like a line, but it may be a tree. It feels singular, but it may be many. It feels unidirectional, but in the quantum world, time itself may even shimmer in uncertainty. Some physicists speak of particles traveling backward in time, their paths symmetrical to those that move forward. In mathematics, the distinction is not always clear, and so you float between images. The river, the tree, the arrow. Each metaphor is a way of touching time, but none the whole of it. You let them coexist, like overlapping ripples, like quantum. States before collapse. Now imagine yourself standing at a fork in the river. To the left, a path of stillness. To the right, a path of movement. You cannot walk both here, but somewhere both unfold. You choose the right and feel the water carry you. But gently, in your mind, you sense the left continues too. In another stream, another branch. Both versions of you move forward, neither erased, each valid. This vision is not only science, but also meditation. It offers a way to rest in uncertainty, a way to soften the weight of choices. For every step you take, countless versions ripple outward, like circles in water. You are not trapped in one line, but embraced by many. The night deepens around you. You feel the quiet presence of all the versions of you that may exist, some near, some far, some very different. They are like stars in the sky, countless, unreachable, but shining together in a single vastness. You are one star among them, yet also the sky that holds them all. This sense of branching time changes how you feel the present moment. The now is not a thin slice, fragile and fleeting. It is a junction, a meeting point of many paths, a route from which futures grow. Every breath you take is a fork. Every thought, every pause, every glance creates ripples. The present is spacious, generous, alive with possibility. You rest in this awareness, unhurried. Time does not rush you forward. It unfolds around you patiently, like a tree opening its leaves to the sun. You belong to this unfolding. You are both participant and witness, branch and leaf, traveler and tree. And yet, a question begins to form, gentle and persistent. If time branches endlessly, what becomes of memory? If each choice creates new paths, how do you hold the thread of who you are? You feel this question stir within you, like a current beneath the surface. Memory ties you to the trunk, to the path you have walked. It gives you continuity, a sense of self carried forward. But in the branching tree, memory itself may be a selective lantern, lighting only one branch at a time. Somewhere, another you remembers differently. Somewhere, another you recalls another path. The thought is soft, not unsettling. It reminds you that identity itself may be fluid, branching like time. You are not a single, rigid self, but a constellation of possibilities, each illuminated by memory in its own way. To be alive is to be in motion, to be in branching, to be in becoming. The river of time continues to flow. Its surface glitters in starlight. Its branches stretch wide. You float, weightless, held by its gentle current. There is no need to know which stream you follow. Each is valid. Each leads to the ocean. Doubt you close your eyes and listen to the water, to the rustling of leaves in the tree of time, to the quiet hum of entropy's arrow. The sounds merge, becoming one lullaby of branching, of flowing, of unfolding. You feel yourself drifting deeper into rest, deeper into wonder. And still, the question lingers. If time is a river of branches, has it ever returned to its source? Does the tree grow in cycles as well as in lines? Does the arrow bend, looping, back upon itself, allowing moments to repeat like seasons? Some physicists wonder, if universes touch, would we notice? Perhaps a faint bruise in the cosmic microwave background, like fingerprints left on ancient light. The thought is soft, not frightening, that our universe is not alone, but gently, nudged by neighbors. You float in the warmth of cosmic echoes, a lullaby in the background radiation. The tree of time still sways softly in your memory, its branches spreading outward into infinity. Yet as you sit beneath its shade, you begin to feel the presence of something larger, the space that surrounds not only you, but your entire universe. It is quiet, vast, and seemingly endless. And into that silence comes a gentle question. If other universes drift beside ours, do they ever brush against us? The idea rises slowly, like a ripple moving across still water. Imagine the sea of bubbles you once drifted through. Each bubble was a universe, round and luminous, floating in silence. At times, they may drift close enough to touch. What happens then? Do they collapse? Do they merge? Or do they leave faint marks on each other, like two shells tapping lightly? Together on the tide? Physicists, too, wonder this. They ask whether evidence of such contact might be hiding in the light that surrounds us, the ancient glow known as the cosmic microwave background. This light is the oldest we can see, a faint afterglow from nearly 14 billion years ago, when the universe was still young and hot. Over time, it cooled into a gentle bath of microwaves, stretched by the universe's expansion, now filling the sky in every direction. This light is like a lullaby sung by the cosmos itself, steady and even, soft and constant. But within it, scientists search for patterns, ripples, bruises, or scars that might suggest our universe brushed against another in its early days. Such marks would not be bright or obvious. They would be subtle, like a faint fingerprint, pressed into a fogged window, or the quiet bend of grass after a breeze has passed. You picture this now, the night sky, invisible to your eyes in microwave light, glowing evenly like a warm blanket. Hidden within are tiny fluctuations, colder and hotter spots, shaped billions of years ago. Could some of these spots be the echoes of cosmic collisions, whispers from universes beyond our own? It is a tender thought, not violent, not frightening, more like a touch, a meeting, a nudge, one bubble brushing another, leaving only a soft echo in the background. You let yourself imagine our universe as not solitary, but social, a participant in a cosmic dance where neighbors occasionally sway. The notion brings comfort. For often, the immensity of space feels isolating, galaxies scattered so far apart that even light may never bridge the distance. Yet the possibility of other universes touching ours reminds you that nothing is fully alone. Just as your life is filled with unseen influences, the gravity of the moon raising tides, the quiet pull of the sun warming your skin, perhaps our cosmos too feels the gentle pull of others, not in the language of physics. This is sometimes called a collision of bubble universes. It may sound catastrophic, but in many models, it is not destruction. Instead, it is contact, a way in which realities imprint upon each other, leaving signatures we can search for. In some scenarios, whole regions of sky might carry the bruise of such a meeting, circular imprints where temperatures vary slightly. Scientists scan the cosmic microwave background with sensitive instruments, mapping its warmth and coolness, hoping to detect such patterns. And even if no clear scars are found, the search itself deepens the wonder. For it reminds us that our universe is part of something larger, a mystery still unfolding. The very act of listening to ancient light is like leaning into silence to hear a distant whisper. You may not understand it fully, but you feel its presence. You allow yourself to rest in this cosmic lullaby. Imagine the background radiation as a hum that surrounds you, a low note that has been playing since the dawn of time. Every particle of your body has been bathed in it since the moment you were born, warmed by its steady glow. It is so faint, you cannot sense it directly, yet it is always there, like the quiet presence of air against your skin. This hum tells a story. Once, the universe was dense and hot, a storm of particles and light colliding. As it expanded, it cooled. At a certain point, light was finally able to travel freely, no longer trapped in fog. That first free light still lingers, stretched by time, softened into microwaves, spread across the sky. It is the most ancient echo you can witness, a message from a beginning so distant it humbles you, and within that message may lie the faint whispers of encounters. If universes are touched, the story is written there, subtle but enduring. Imagine fingerprints pressed into clay before it hardened, still visible billions of years later. That is how scientists search for shapes, for patterns, for evidence. Of brushes that left the faintest marks in cosmic light, the image soothes you, a universe not sealed away, but part of a larger tapestry where contact is possible. Just as people leave imprints on one another through touch, word, or presence, so too might universes leave imprints when they meet. You feel this kinship deeply. It tells you that connection is a cosmic principle, not only a human one. You breathe, slowly resting in this vast thought. The universe hums its lullaby, ancient and even. Within it, you are both listener and participant, a note within the harmony. A cosmic microwave background does not sing loudly. It does not demand attention. It simply surrounds you, constant and soft, as though the universe itself is whispering, "You are not alone." And then a question rises. If collisions leave scars, what does that mean for us? Could another universe brush against ours again in some distant future? Would it change the laws we live by? Alter the stars we see? Shift the path of time itself? The question is not frightening. It is tender, like wondering whether a breeze might someday ruffle your hair, or whether a drop of rain might someday kiss your cheek. If such a collision comes, it will be part of the larger unfolding, another verse in the Multiverse's song. For now, it is only a possibility, a thought drifting like starlight. You let yourself imagine what such an imprint might look like. Perhaps in the night sky, patterns would appear, circles, spirals, glowing arcs, faint reminders that another world pressed against ours. Perhaps you, or beings far in the future, would gaze upward and wonder at the strange shapes, sensing the story hidden within. Even if no contact is ever confirmed, the very idea invites you to rest in openness. Science does not close doors. It opens them gently, one by one. You need not rush to answers. You can let the questions hold you, like the night sky holds stars. The echoes of cosmic collisions are not shouts, but whispers. They remind you that reality is vast and layered, filled with connections you cannot always see. Just as your heartbeat is steady, but surrounded by countless other rhythms, the breath of others, the wind in the trees, the waves against thee. Sure, so too is your universe steady, but surrounded by countless other possible beats. The cosmic microwave background continues its song, unchanged, a constant presence. You close your eyes and imagine floating within it, like drifting on a warm current. It cradles you as it has cradled galaxies, stars, and planets for billions of years. You are part of its memory, written in light, carried in silence. And as you rest within this echo, another thought begins to rise, soft as dawn. If collisions leave imprints, then so too does memory. Just as the universe carries scars of its early encounters, you too carry echoes of your own past within you. Impressions left by choices, by people, by moments that brushed against your life. Beyond length, width, height, and time, there may be hidden layers of reality. Dimensions folded like pages in a book, unseen yet present. You imagine slipping between them, as easily as turning a sheet of paper. The idea is vast, but it feels light in your hands, like silk in the dark. You begin with what feels simple. A line, a single stroke across emptiness, thin and quiet. It carries only one direction, forward and backward, no more. You trace it with your mind and feel the limitation, a world with only one dimension, like a thread stretched across the dark. Now, let the line breathe. Allow it to drift outward, to slide in another direction, and it becomes a plane. 2 dimensions, flat but wide, like a page of paper. You can walk across it, trace circles, or draw the shapes of dreams. Yet even here, you notice the absence, no above, no below. The world feels constrained, like a painting that never rises. From its canvas dot, and then, with the simplest lift, the plane folds upward. A new direction opens, and space gains height. 3 dimensions bloom around you, length, width, and height. This is the world you know, the space of rooms, mountains, oceans, and skies. You live in this 3-dimensional theater, moving freely, never questioning that up and down are as natural as left and right. But there is another layer already woven through: time. It flows forward, carrying you from one moment to the next. Time is the rhythm that gives shape to movement, the current in which you float. With it, your world is 4-dimensional, though you rarely feel it that way. To you, time is not a dimension to walk through, but one you experience moment by moment. Like beads strung on a thread, yet physicists whisper that there may be more. Beyond the familiar 4, dimensions might extend silently, folded too small for your senses to notice. Imagine a page of paper curled tightly into a scroll. From a distance, it looks like a line, yet up close, you would see its hidden depth. Perhaps our universe is just like that, dimensions curled so closely, they are invisible to our everyday sight. Dot string theory paints a vision where the universe is, woven not only of particles, but of tiny vibrating strings. These strings, delicate as threads of light, need extra dimensions to vibrate in. Not just 4, but 10, or even 11. Each extra dimension is like a hidden corridor, narrow and unseen, yet essential to the harmony of existence. Without them, as strings could not sing their cosmic notes. Pause here. Let yourself imagine. You stand inside a vast hall, but within its walls are doors you cannot see. Some are so small they fold upon themselves like tiny spirals of silk. If you could shrink small enough, you might slip inside, finding landscapes curled into microscopic spaces, universes within universes. Mathematicians describe these shapes with names like Calabi-Yau manifolds, intricate geometries folded in on themselves. Picture a delicate origami star, folded thousands of times until its structure is too fine for human eyes. To your world, it looks invisible, but to the strings of existence, it is a playground. You may wonder, why can't you move in these directions? Why can't you step sideways into a fifth dimension as easily as you step forward? Perhaps because your body is bound to the large open dimensions, the ones that stretch freely across the cosmos. The hidden ones are too small, curled so tightly, that you can never turn into them. Yet still, they may shape the very laws that guide your world. Think of a garden hose lying in the grass. From far away, it looks like a simple line. But up close, an ant walking along it sees a circle, a small dimension wrapped around. To you, the circle is invisible from afar, but to the ant, it is a path. Perhaps you too are like that, walking along a great line of reality, while other dimensions curl invisibly around you, shaping your path in ways you cannot see. The thought is not heavy, it is delicate. It does not press on you, but invites you to wonder. You are not trapped by the absence of sight. You are instead cradled by mystery. The unknown becomes a gentle companion, reminding you that reality is always deeper than appearances. Close your eyes again, and imagine turning sideways, not into left or right, but into something else, a new direction your senses do not yet know. At first, it feels impossible, but then it softens. You picture a sheet of paper where two ants walk. To them, their world is only length and width. They cannot conceive of above. Yet you, looking down, see it clearly. Perhaps for you, there are beings or truths that see directions you cannot. This is not frightening. It is comforting. It means there is more room in reality than you thought. More room for possibility, for connection, for futures unseen. The cosmos does not end at the walls of perception. It stretches quietly beyond them. Some theories suggest that entire universes may float in higher dimensions. Like sheets of paper stacked together, each universe could be a page in a cosmic book. You are living on one page, unaware of the others, but the book itself holds them all. And just as pages sometimes press against one another, perhaps universes, two may touch, leaving faint imprints, subtle echoes. You breathe slowly, as if turning those invisible pages with your breath. Each inhale opens a new possibility. Each exhale releases it gently. You begin to feel how small your familiar world is compared to the vastness hinted by these extra layers. Yet instead of shrinking, your heart expands. You are not less because the universe is more. You are part of its depth, a thread in its folded fabric. The physicist's chalkboard may fill with equations, dense with symbols, but for you, the meaning is carried best in images. You picture silk folded into unseen shapes. You picture corridors hidden within a single point. You picture the air around you thick with directions you cannot name. And all of it feels less like a puzzle and more like a lullaby, one that hums of hidden order, of elegance wrapped within mystery. The deeper you drift, the more you realize that dimensions are not just places to move. They are ways to connect. Each added dimension is like a bridge, linking points that once seemed far apart. In your familiar three, two distant stars are separated by light years. But in a higher space, they could be close, folded neighbors, touching in ways you cannot imagine. This brings you to the idea of wormholes, shortcuts through hidden dimensions. Like tunnels through folded paper, wormholes could connect distant parts of the universe, bending space and time into a gentle loop. They remain theoretical, but the image is powerful. It is as if the universe whispers, distances may not always be what they seem, and so you drift further, imagining yourself slipping between folds. Not in haste, not in search, but in simple curiosity. You let the thought carry you like a current, not needing to know where it ends. The act of wondering itself is enough, for in these musings, you notice a pattern. Every layer of reality reveals another. Every limit you once thought final becomes a doorway. The line became a plane became space, space became space-time, and beyond space-time lie further folds. Always more, always gentler than expected, that you begin to feel that your own life mirrors this unfolding. You live within the visible, yet hidden dimensions of yourself, and wait quietly too, unexpressed potentials, unseen perspectives. Just as the universe holds folded layers, so do you. And perhaps the act of dreaming, of closing your eyes and wandering into imagination, is your way of brushing against those hidden corridors of being. The thought lingers like a soft echo. You are more than what you see. The universe is more than what it shows. Together, you are a conversation between the visible and the hidden, between the opened and the folded dot. As you rest in this awareness, you sense the continuity of the journey. The dimensions are not separate from the earlier whispers of multiverses and collisions. They are part of the same unfolding. The cosmos is always larger, always deeper, always more layered than before. And every discovery is less an ending than a beginning, an invitation to lean further into wonder. You let that wonder cradle you now, not as urgency, not as weight, but as a lullaby of possibility. The unseen is not a void, but a fullness you have yet to touch. Like silk in the dark, it brushes softly against your thoughts, asking nothing but presence. And as your breathing slows, you feel yourself carried by that silk, drifting, folding, turning gently in the unseen pages of existence. What does it mean if there are many versions of you? Perhaps in one you are laughing, in another you are silent, in yet another you never existed. The thought is not heavy, but freeing. You are a constellation of cells, shining together in the tapestry of possibility. You drift into sleep with their quiet company dot. You begin with a simple thought. What if there are other versions of you? Not figuratively, but literally, in ways science suggests could be real. Somewhere beyond the limits of your perception. Other yous unfold along branching timelines, each living choices you did not, exploring possibilities that never touched your path. You do not imagine this as a threat, but as a kind of companionship, a constellation of cells glimmering quietly in the vast expanse of reality. Take a deep breath and picture one version of yourself standing at a crossroads you remember well. Perhaps you turned left in this life. In another, you turned right. In that world, a different story unfolded. The world slightly altered by your choice. Other people reacting differently. Events rippling outward in new directions. You can feel the differences subtly, like the variation in the wind as you step from one garden into another. The air smells slightly different. The light shifts just so. You do not need to walk there to know it exists. You only need to imagine it. In yet another world, you did not arrive at the crossroads at all. Perhaps you lingered behind, delayed by small, mundane choices. And there, life took an entirely different course. Perhaps you never met certain people, or your path led to quiet solitude, or to unexpected joy. The thought is not sadness or regret. It is fascination, a gentle curiosity that feels as expansive as the night sky. Each version of you is a note in a symphony, distinct but harmonizing, creating a melody of possibility. This is the essence of the many worlds view of reality. In quantum physics, when a particle faces multiple outcomes, each potential outcome may continue to exist in its own branch of reality. If particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, why could not entire versions of you exist along countless branching worlds? Perhaps every choice, even the smallest flicker of attention or hesitation, is a seed for a new path, a new you unfolding silently alongside the you know. Imagine walking through a forest of branching trees. Each branch represents a decision, and at every fork, a new tree sprouts, twisting toward the sky. You are both in the trunk and walking along the branches. Each version of yourself sits quietly in its own shade, resting beneath the leaves that have grown from different choices. You can wander the forest in your mind, observing each version, but you do not need to step into each one. Their existence is enough. Some of yourselves are familiar. They smile in ways you would recognize. They carry your voice and laughter. Some are foreign. They walk paths you would never take, speaking words you do not know, encountering experiences that feel distant and strange. And some might be absent altogether, erased by the paths that never converged. Yet all belong to the same constellation, a galaxy of yous, each shimmering softly, quietly, peacefully. You might notice, in the stillness of your imagination, that this vision mirrors your own consciousness. Just as reality may branch in many directions, your mind contains layers of possibility, the what-ifs and might-have-beens that hover in the edges of memory. You do not need to chase them, nor do you need to reconcile them. Simply noticing that they exist is enough. They are companions, not weights, shadows that gently brush against your awareness. Let us explore the texture of these selves. Some laugh, freely, uninhibited, while you watch, feeling the echo of their joy ripple through you. Some are quiet, introspective, contemplating moments you never pause to consider. You feel a gentle kinship with them all, the familiar, the unfamiliar, the silent and the exuberant. They are not separate from you. They are extensions, variations, possibilities rendered tangible in some cosmic sense. You can picture the universe itself as a vast room of mirrors. Every reflection shows a slightly different image. You lift your hand in front of one, and in another reflection, it remains still. In yet another, you are smiling at someone who does not exist in your world. Each reflection is real in its own way. And just as the mirrors do not compete, the versions of you do not negate one another. They exist together, a quiet ensemble of light and presence. You may wonder how to feel the vastness without being overwhelmed. Breathe slowly. Let each version settle beside you, like stars appearing in a night sky. You do not need to reach them, name them, or even step into their paths. Simply rest in the knowledge that they are there, companions of possibility, reminders that life is not singular, but multidimensional. You are never alone, for countless yous shimmer in silence. Alongside the you who lies here now, that the many worlds perspective changes how choices feel. They are not heavy burdens, not irreversible weights pressing down on the chest. Instead, they are invitations, the flicker of a new branch, the unfolding of another possibility. When you choose, one path becomes your immediate experience, but other paths continue to exist, coexisting quietly in the larger fabric of reality. Your decisions ripple outward, touching the edges of existence in ways that may never be fully seen, yet remain intact, perfect in their own branch of being. Perhaps it is the same with memory. When you remember a moment, you are aware of one branch of experience. But other memories, other potential memories, unactualized or forgotten, exist elsewhere. Your consciousness picks one thread to follow, weaving it into your story. And yet, the other threads do not vanish. They shimmer faintly parallel. Like distant stars in a galaxy you can only glimpse from afar, you notice a subtle rhythm forming, like breathing through time itself. One inhale, one branch. One exhale, another. You imagine drifting through these branches, feeling the gentle pull of probability, the whisper of might have been. It is not chaotic. It is harmonious. You float among the possibilities as if floating in water, buoyed by understanding, softened by wonder. Some yous are joyous in ways you cannot predict. Some yous are quiet, contemplative, or even sorrowful, and yet all exist with equal validity. There is no hierarchy. There is no judgment, only presence. Each self shines, small but complete, a microcosm of your essence dancing across infinite space. This vision offers a kind of freedom. You are not limited to the choices made in one life. You can explore them gently in thought, letting your mind drift along their paths, experiencing without attachment. You do not need to inhabit every version, nor do you need to understand them fully. Their existence alone is enough to soften the edges of your world. The vastness of possibility mirrors the vastness of the cosmos itself. Just as stars cluster into galaxies, forming constellations across the night sky, so do yourselves cluster into a constellation of being. One spark of joy, one spark of curiosity, one spark of quiet reflection. Together, they form a luminous pattern shining across infinite space and time. You are a single star, yet you are the entire constellation. And perhaps the most comforting thought is that this multiplicity is not disorienting. It is gentle. It is as if the universe whispers, there is room for all of you. Every choice, every path, every potential version of yourself is honored in this vast, unfolding tapestry. You are not diminished by possibility. You are expanded by it. You drift further into this awareness, sensing the quiet hum of your multitudes. They do not call you. They do not demand attention. They exist beside you, like companions who have always been there, waiting in silence for you to notice. You feel their warmth, a gentle presence brushing against your mind, as subtle and soft as a night breeze stirring leaves. Perhaps it is enough simply to lie here and feel, to let each self shimmer quietly, like distant lanterns in the darkness. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to name them. Their presence itself is a lullaby, soft and steady, carrying you into deeper rest. And as your breathing slows, your awareness drifts naturally from the many selves of your life toward a universe itself. If countless versions of you can exist, perhaps countless worlds exist as well, each branching gently, touching and separating in ways that are both immense and intimate. You feel the kinship between self and cosmos, between choice and existence, as though the universe itself is a mirror of your own branching being. You are reminded that science is not certainty, but curiosity. The unknown is not a void, but a melody waiting to be heard. Parallel universes are not answers, but questions that hum gently in the background of thought. You find rest in the harmony of mystery, where not knowing feels like peace. You lie quietly, feeling the night fold gently around you. Your mind drifts like a leaf floating on a slow river, guided by currents you do not control, yet somehow trust. It is here, in the stillness of thought, that you realize science is not a vault of certainties, but a lantern swinging softly in the darkness, illuminating small corners while leaving much unseen. This is not unsettling. It is comforting. You begin to understand that the unknown is not absence, but presence waiting for recognition. Imagine standing on a hill, under a sky sprinkled with stars. You notice one, then another, until the expanse feels infinite. You may never touch them. You may never fully understand their light, yet their glow carries meaning. Each star is like a question, a gentle vibration in the dark, asking to be noticed. In much the same way, the mysteries of the universe are not voids to fear, but melodies to feel. You think of parallel universes. Perhaps there are infinite worlds, each branching subtly from choices and probabilities, quietly, humming beside yours. These worlds may never collide, and yet they exist, quietly vibrating like strings of a cosmic instrument. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to catalog them. Simply imagining their presence brings a sense of harmony. It is as though existence itself is orchestrated, every possibility resonating softly with the others. The beauty of science is that it allows you to wander freely, to follow your curiosity without demanding answers. In this wandering, you encounter concepts that feel paradoxical, yet inviting. Quantum mechanics tells you that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, a principle that defies common sense, but reveals the flexibility of reality. In every decision, in every branching path, the universe seems to whisper, explore, imagine, wonder. You notice your own breath in the silence. Each inhale is a connection to the unseen. Each exhale, a release of tension. You realize that curiosity is a rhythm, a pulse of life that aligns your mind with the cosmos. Just as stars pulse with energy across unimaginable distances, so too does your awareness stretch toward the unknown, seeking patterns, seeking understanding, yet resting in the gentle acceptance of mystery. It helps to imagine the universe as a grand symphony. Every particle, every star, every possibility contributes a note. Some notes are loud and visible, planets, galaxies, nebulae. Some notes are subtle, almost imperceptible, fluctuations in the cosmic microwave background. The faint echo of a bubble universe brushing against ours, or the gentle oscillation of a particle's spin. And yet all notes matter, creating a melody that is complete in its entirety, even when some notes remain unseen. You imagine yourself drifting along this melody. You do not need to grasp every theme or chord. You simply float in the resonance, feeling the waves of possibility ripple through your consciousness. In this space, you understand that uncertainty is not chaos, but rhythm. The unknown is not emptiness, but potential. Every unanswered question is a note waiting to be heard, a vibration waiting to align with your awareness. Sometimes, curiosity brings you to the edge of comprehension. You think of the multiverse, of dimensions folded like pages in a book, of versions of yourself living silently in parallel. At first, the scope feels overwhelming, like standing at the edge of a vast ocean without a boat. Yet when you soften your gaze, when you allow your mind to float rather than grasp, the vastness becomes gentle. It is a calm sea, its waves whispering. Softly, you are part of this. You belong to this melody. You notice the questions arising in your mind. What if universes do touch? What if unseen dimensions influence your reality? What if every decision you make echoes in ways you cannot perceive? And then, without forcing an answer, you let the questions rest. They do not need solutions. Their presence alone enriches your awareness, deepens your connection to the cosmos, and invites you into a lullaby of contemplation. Science, you realize, is the practice of listening. It is a way of tuning your senses to frequencies beyond your ordinary perception. Telescopes stretch vision across billions of light years. Particle detectors measure phenomena far smaller than the eye can see. Instruments hum, screens glow, equations form. Yet the essence of science is curiosity, a quiet attention to the world, an openness to wonder, a willingness to follow subtle clues into places you have never been. You allow yourself to drift through the history of scientific discovery. You imagine early astronomers charting the stars by hand, their eyes pressed against cold metal tubes. You imagine the first physicists measuring the flicker of particles in dimly lit laboratories, noting anomalies, trusting their instincts to guide them. You realize that every discovery begins in uncertainty, in a willingness to inhabit the unknown. And so you sit with the parallel universes, the quantum possibilities, the dimensions beyond perception. You do not need to prove their existence, to feel their beauty. They are not threats, nor are they demands. They are gentle companions, humming in the background of thought. You sense a quiet resonance, a harmony that exists even when you cannot fully see it. This is the music of the unknown, subtle, persistent, soft as a sigh. Your mind begins to wander, exploring small, personal reflections alongside cosmic questions. Every time you have wondered what if, you are already engaging in the dance of possibilities. Every time you have imagined another path, you have traced a branch of the multiverse in your own mind. And just as the universe holds countless unseen worlds, your consciousness holds countless untapped reflections, dreams, and choices. You imagine floating among these possibilities. Your body rests beneath the covers, yet your mind drifts expansively. You sense the connection between your curiosity and the cosmos itself. Every ripple of thought, every flicker of wonder, aligns you subtly with the unfolding melody of the universe. You are part of it, and it is part of you, a seamless continuum of mystery and discovery. Even the act of not knowing becomes gentle. Uncertainty is no longer a source of anxiety. It is a soft cushion, supporting the mind as it floats through complex ideas and vast possibilities. Questions are like lanterns in the dark, small points of light guiding you through shadows, revealing shapes and hints without needing to illuminate everything at once. You notice the quiet rhythm of understanding. Sometimes it arrives slowly, like dawn brushing softly over a horizon. Sometimes it does not arrive at all. And yet, the rhythm itself is comforting, reminding you that the universe is patient, infinite, and layered. You begin to see that the joy of science is not simply in answers, but in engagement, in presence, in the harmony created by attention to what is unknown. Your body relaxes further, syncing with this cosmic rhythm. Every heartbeat becomes a soft percussion, every breath a gentle swell of sound. You sense that curiosity is not a mental exercise alone. It is a physical resonance. Your muscles, your nerves, your awareness, all participate in this quiet harmony, a symphony in which the unknown is not frightening, but soft, nurturing, and enveloping. In your mind, the parallel worlds shimmer gently. You picture your many selves drifting in soft constellations. You picture unseen dimensions, folded like delicate origami. You picture cosmic collisions, leading faint, graceful echoes. And you notice a common thread. All these possibilities coexist without conflict. They are separate, yet in harmony. They form a pattern, a quiet chorus that invites your consciousness to expand without strain. You allow the thought to settle. The unknown is not empty. It is filled with potential, vibrating softly, waiting to be heard. The multiverse, the hidden dimensions, the quantum possibilities, all are part of a single melody, a background hum to the life you know. You are in it, and it is in you, a gentle resonance of curiosity and wonder that continues even as your body and mind drift towards sleep. As your eyelids grow heavy, you realize that the harmony of the unknown mirrors the rhythm of your own being. You do not need to solve every mystery, to touch every star, to know every path. You only need to rest in the awareness that questions are melodies, and curiosity is their music. In this space, you find peace. You feel the soft echo of parallel possibilities brushing against your awareness, like a whisper in a quiet room. You imagine every unknown as a note in a lullaby, every unanswered question a stroke in a painting that continues to unfold. The beauty of not knowing becomes apparent. It is a garden, a river, a sky that stretches farther than the mind can measure. And so, with each breath, you sink deeper into that harmony. You rest in the presence of mysteries that will never be fully grasped, and yet you feel no absence, no longing, only soft alignment with the rhythm of curiosity itself. The unknown is not a threat. It is a companion, It is a song sung gently. In the background, a lullaby that hums through the fabric of reality. As your eyes close, dreams open a doorway into worlds just as real to your sleeping mind. Each night you visit a universe within, where laws bend and possibilities stretch. Perhaps your dreams are echoes of the greater multiverse, softly brushing your awareness. You step through, carried on the threshold between waking and infinite night. You lie in the quiet, the soft weight of your body pressing gently into the mattress. Your eyelids begin to flutter, drawing down like curtains at the edge of a stage, dimming the world into softness. You feel the day's events loosen around your mind, a gentle release, like water seeping from the edges of a leaf. And in that moment, the threshold opens, a doorway into the world of dreams, a world that is yours alone, yet mirrors the infinite possibilities of the universe. Beyond. Dreams are not simply images or stories. They are subtle unfoldings, experiences that obey rules unlike those you encounter awake. Time stretches and contracts, matter twists into impossible forms, and you find yourself walking along paths that could never exist in waking life. Yet, the experiences feel tangible, textured, alive, every sensation softly convincing, every scene meticulously real. Your body rests, but your consciousness explores, stepping lightly across the threshold where reality and imagination intertwine. Imagine stepping into a room where gravity shifts with your intention, where light bends around corners as if obeying your curiosity. In dreams, the impossible is ordinary, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. You float over landscapes, sail along rivers of color, and traverse mountains that curve into the clouds like gentle arcs drawn by a patient hand. The boundaries of physics soften, yet the world remains coherent in the quiet logic of the mind at rest. Perhaps dreams are not entirely separate from reality. Some scientists suggest that the brain, in sleep, continues to process the day's experiences, integrating information, rehearsing responses, and exploring hypothetical scenarios. You see this in the way a dream can stitch fragments of memory together. A place you visited blends with a person you saw only once. A sound you heard echoes in a conversation that never happened. The mind becomes a painter and a composer, combining elements with subtle precision, forming a universe uniquely yours. As you drift further, you notice how dreams resemble a soft mirror of the multiverse. Just as countless universes may exist, branching in infinite possibilities, so too do dreams branch endlessly from the mind's creativity. Each night, one pathway is chosen, yet countless others remain unrealized, shimmering just beyond reach. Perhaps the multiverse whispers in dreams, allowing you a glimpse of realities parallel to your own, reflections of possibilities not taken, paths that unfold quietly in hidden dimensions. You move through these dreamscapes as if walking along, invisible threads connecting stars. Each step is deliberate yet effortless, guided by an intuition that feels ancient and expansive. In one dream, you find yourself in a forest of light where leaves hum with a soft energy. In another, you glide over an ocean where waves ripple with color rather than water. Each experience is a gentle proof that reality is flexible, a reminder that the boundaries you perceive in waking life are not absolute, but a layer among many, like the surface of a calm pond above deeper hidden waters. Your senses feel alive in new ways. Sounds carry textures, colors shimmer with emotion, and touch resonates not just in the body, but in a sense of presence that extends beyond the physical. You are both observer and participant, simultaneously inside and outside the dream. Every movement, every thought, every fleeting emotion forms a subtle dialogue with the unfolding universe of the dream. Like a musician improvising along a melody that changes with every note you play. The brain is remarkable in this state. During REM sleep, Neurons fire in patterns that echo the act of experiencing reality. You might find yourself walking along a street you have never known, feeling the wind against your face, hearing footsteps that belong to no one, yet every detail seems familiar. Sleep is a laboratory of consciousness, a workshop where the mind tests scenarios, rehearses solutions, and explores the dimensions of existence you cannot access while awake. Yet dreams are more than mechanics. They are profoundly poetic. In them, you encounter symbolic representations of your feelings, desires, and fears. You might find a river representing time, flowing in loops and eddies. A staircase that never ends, representing curiosity and learning. A door opening into light, representing possibility. Each image is not random, but resonates softly with your inner landscape, reflecting the mind's gentle capacity to translate abstract reality into experience that touches the heart. Perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of dreams is their freedom. In them, the constraints of choice, space, and consequence soften. You can speak with animals, converse with people from distant times, or travel to galaxies that exist only in imagination. Here, you are not limited by ordinary circumstances. Every path, every idea, every thought is available. Dreams are a rehearsal for creativity, a playground for the mind, a quiet theater in which you can explore the vastness of possibility without fear or expectation. You may notice, as you drift, that the doorway between waking and dreaming is not a line, but a gradient, a soft continuum. One moment you are aware of the world outside your window, the hum of night settling around you. Next, you feel yourself stepping across the threshold, slipping into a universe governed by the subtle logic of your own consciousness. This transition is smooth, like moving from one room to another without touching the floor, or like sunlight, fading gently into twilight. Asterisk, the parallels between dreams and the multiverse feel profound. In dreams, possibilities coexist in a latent state. One dream may unfold tonight, while others remain dormant, waiting for another night, another slumber, another sequence of neuronal activity. Just as in the theory of many worlds, each potential experience exists in a quiet state, unrealized but present. Dreams allow you to inhabit one pathway while remaining aware, in the deepest part of yourself, that countless others might exist simultaneously. You sense the universality of this experience. All beings, in sleep, traverse realms beyond ordinary perception. Even creatures without language or culture explore these landscapes, albeit differently, guided by instinct and the rhythms of life. The capacity to dream is an invitation to explore the unknown, a gentle reminder that consciousness itself is a universe, vast, layered, and endlessly intricate. Asterisk, as you move deeper into sleep, you may encounter a strange kind of coherence. A flying city may have streets and buildings that make sense only in this dream, yet you navigate them effortlessly. A conversation with someone long gone may feel both impossible and inevitable. These moments demonstrate the mind's remarkable ability to construct worlds, complete with physics, logic, and emotion, all in the span of a single night. There is a subtle magic in this process. Dreams do not demand understanding, yet they invite observation. They are simultaneously ephemeral and enduring, fading upon waking, yet leaving traces in memory and emotion. You notice the soft residue of images and feelings as your consciousness drifts further, and you sense that this is part of the quiet harmony of existence, a bridge between what is known and what is not, between the tangible world and the infinite potential of imagination. In dreams, you can encounter versions of yourself, echoes of other possibilities. Perhaps a version of you exists that made choices you did not, wandered paths you never walked, or embodied qualities that you have yet to explore. These encounters are gentle, not frightening. They are invitations to reflection, a reminder that identity is fluid layered, and interconnected with the universe itself. You may smile at these reflections, recognizing the depth of your own being expanded across possibilities. The act of dreaming also connects you to memory. The brain draws from experiences, feelings, and knowledge accumulated over a lifetime, weaving them into scenarios that may feel unfamiliar, yet familiar at the same time. A street you have never seen may contain echoes of places you have known. A voice may speak truths you have always felt but never articulated. Dreams are a tapestry of experience, sewn with threads of insight, imagination, and subconscious understanding. *U. Notice how restful this exploration is. Unlike the busy thinking of the day, dreams do not demand action or problem solving. They exist as experiences to witness, to inhabit, to drift within. You feel a gentle relaxation as your mind flows through this inner universe, sensing the interconnectedness of possibility, memory, and awareness. Sleep is not a surrender, but an embrace. A quiet journey into realms where understanding emerges gradually, like dawn over a still landscape dot. And as the night deepens, you perceive a profound sense of continuity. The doorway of dreams is not a separation from reality, but an extension of it. Your mind explores hidden layers, practices empathy and creativity, and nurtures problem-solving abilities, all while your body rests. Dreams are laboratories, theaters, and symphonies of experience, teaching you subtly about flexibility, possibility, and presence. You float in this awareness, your breathing soft, your body heavy, your consciousness light. The doorway remains open, inviting yet safe, expansive yet intimate. Every dream is a universe you inhabit, yet it belongs to no one exclusively. It is shared in the quiet hum of life's processes, part of the rhythm that carries all beings toward rest, renewal, and insight. The final sensation of the night is one of gentle surrender. You do not need to cling to images, plot lines, or sensations. They drift past like clouds across a serene sky. The doorway of dreams remains, always accessible, always present, waiting for the next evening when you will return. When your mind will step lightly across the threshold into worlds that feel as real as the one you leave behind. ****, as our journey into parallel universes gently comes to a close, take a moment to feel the quiet wonder of infinite possibilities lingering around you. Every choice, every path not taken, every flicker of what could have been, they may all exist somewhere, in worlds just out of reach, yet subtly connected to our own. The universe, it seems, is not a single story, but a vast tapestry of realities, quietly overlapping and coexisting. Perhaps the echoes of other worlds brush against ours, leaving faint traces we can barely perceive, a gentle reminder of the mystery that surrounds us. As you reflect on this, remember that curiosity is as important as certainty. Embrace the questions, the whispers of unseen realities, and the quiet marvels that expand your mind without demanding immediate answers. Let the infinite possibilities of the cosmos settle softly into your thoughts, carrying a sense of peace and awe. If this exploration of parallel universes inspired you, please consider liking this video, sharing it with someone who wonders about the mysteries of existence, and leaving a comment with your thoughts or reflections. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel so you can quietly journey with us into more stories of science, the cosmos, and the mysteries that surround us. As you drift toward the night, let the idea of infinite worlds remind you of the vastness, the mystery, and the beauty that exists beyond what we can see. Perhaps tonight, as you close your eyes, you may even feel the gentle brush of another reality, softly touching your imagination and carrying you into the quiet wonder of the unknown.